All right. Hello, Rick. It is nice to have you here today.
Yeah, nice to be here. Good to see
Yeah,
you,
it's always
Mason.
nice to sit down. I know we were chatting about results and everything last week. And so we wanted to kind of sit down here and share your experience with everybody else that may be considering the service and just kind of do a little spotlight on you and what you're doing in your service area. So I know we gave you a quick introduction. And so knowing that Rick's on the line with us, I figured, Rick, if you wouldn't mind maybe sharing a little bit more about kind of the years of experience in the business, as well as where you're currently licensed and doing most of that business.
Yeah. So I work up here in Bellingham, Washington, and we service, pretty much Whatcom and Skagit counties. I work with Don Hale, who's my business partner, and we have a team. So over the last 5 years, we've helped 492 families or clients either buy and or sell property. So yeah, we stay very busy and we're very active. So we're either handing keys to buyers or checks to sellers about every 3 days.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love it out there, but it is an interesting place. It is a very different real estate market compared to a lot of other, especially more like urban areas, because some of those counties, right? If correct me if I'm wrong, get fairly rural. Am I right?
Yeah, for sure. It's not uncommon for me to drive 1 or 2 hours in one direction to show a home and then turn around and drive another 2 to 4 hours to show another home.
Yeah, and I remember talking about that a little bit when we first met each other, when you, Don, and I all sat down prior to our partnership. And I remember being curious about what you guys were doing to generate leads, considering it is quite of a different area out there that you guys are dealing with. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you guys were doing Realtor.com, you were doing Zillow, a series of door knocking, outbound engine, your referral business as well. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think over the years we've run through quite a few different lead sources, if you will, or buy lead sources for sure.
Yeah, I
Yes.
noticed you guys had a lot going on. And the reason I wanted to confirm that is because I know oftentimes there are other agents that have, well, whether the experiences are positive or negative, usually those experiences impact their future relationships and their future partnerships, right? So
Right.
I know that prior to talking, you guys had a few concerns based on what some of the experiences have been in the past, because some of those options that you've done have been fairly lucrative and others not so much. So I guess the question that I wanted to ask you, because somebody else may be able to relate to this, from your past experience, what were your biggest concerns, both on your side and Don's side, in terms of getting into another partnership and specifically with us?
Yeah, I mean, quality of the leads is the most was our most concern. I will tell you that. So yeah, that's the biggest concern. You want the most bang for your buck, if you will.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, you can figure out a system to give me 100 leads, and if they're just not quality, I mean, a lead is a lead, right? And it's all
Yeah.
a follow up, of course. But the better quality of a lead makes that follow up a lot easier, for sure.
Right. A bit of a head start or a jump start,
Bit of
right?
a head start. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now, given that experience, now that you have had a chance to be with us and use the service for a while, what are some of the biggest differences you would say from your personal point of view, now that you've been with us for at least 4 months now? What would you say are the biggest differences between some of those other platforms you've used and ours that you found advantageous or as a pro or a plus?
Yeah, the live transfers have been great because when we get those calls, and the person I deal with is Wellington, who's been amazing.
Oh, your caller, your inside sales agent?
Yeah, yes. And he literally gives you the entire story of this person's, kind of a pre-qualification, the entire story. So when you get on that call, you pretty much you've got all the information and all the questions have been asked, and whether they're probably at least pre-qualified to at least have a conversation with an agent. So that's been amazing.
Right. The live transfers are always gold. Everybody loves that because,
Yeah.
as you mentioned earlier, it's all in the follow up and it's all
Yeah.
about speed to lead, right? So the quicker we can get you on the line with that person, if they're ready to go, the
Yeah.
better. Now, apart from the live transfers, what are some of the other parts of the service that you found enjoyable?
Yeah, I like the fact that you can go back and actually listen to the conversations with the ISA between
Oh,
them and
right.
the
Yeah. The
agent.
call recordings.
Yeah, that's been great.
Right.
And then you can jump in at any time and start doing the text messaging and things like that. So that's been a great benefit.
Right. So how kind of having the leverage of somebody else doing it for you, but at the same time being able to jump in and kind of pick up whenever you think it's appropriate for
Yeah.
you to pick up. Is that, was I understanding correctly?
Yeah, yeah, you are. Yeah, it's
Awesome.
nice because you can go in there and kind of see the entire history with the client, and yeah, you just jump right in the middle of it.
Yeah. And I appreciate the kind words, and I'm glad that you're enjoying the experience because there's a lot of time, hours, and money that's gone into
Yeah.
a successful client experience over the years. Now, just kind of summarizing so far, I know in a matter of about 4 months or so, Rick, we generated tens and tens of appointments and transfers. I think we got around 23 million in the pipeline. I know we had some connections with people that were in leads that were in the $1 to $2 million range that you and
Yep.
Samantha have been working with or received live transfers with. And we have at least one client that we kind of reactivated that had fallen on the wayside
Yeah.
over the years from Don, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So knowing what you said earlier about it, a lot of it comes down to lead quality, knowing that we have that and we've done those things over the past 4 months. Perhaps you could give a little bit more of a detailed account of like what you personally think about the lead quality, since it is so important, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I mean, the lead quality has been great compared to others, I will tell you. I mean, we literally have, both Samantha and I have legitimate cash buyers that, I mean, are looking at buying multifamily for upwards of $1 million. So that's been phenomenal. And I don't know how we would have found them other than with this lead source. So that's been great. But yeah, no, it's been, I mean, we have talked as a team and we realize and know that we will convert those into sales.
I love it. And I want to come back to a point you were making earlier, because I think it's always nice to have that jump start, like you said, making sure you get quality leads on the line. But another concern that I hear agents say quite a bit is, oh yeah, you could get me on the line with somebody that's qualified, but how does that mean that they won't have another real estate agent already? Or something like that. And I know, of course, without from the upfront or just looking at a website or something like that, we may look like any other company out there that does appointments and live transfers. And they may not know that we have the multi stages of filtration to weed out those type of individuals. But knowing that's often a big concern that, okay, yeah, once you get quality, I still need to make sure they don't have another agent. What has your experience been like in that regard with the leads that had come through?
Yeah, I can tell you without fail, all of the live transfers Wellington would add at the end of the conversation, and I've confirmed that they are not working with another agent. So that's been like, that's one less hurdle to get over for sure.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's all about that jump start, like we
For sure.
talked about.
Yeah.
So I got to ask you this question just because I ask it to everybody, Rick. So I know
Sure.
we've had a great experience so far. Again, we got cash buyers up to $1 million, $2 million that have come through. They don't have other agents. And I know you said you like the live transfers, but if you had to choose one thing that was your favorite thing about the service, what would it be from your eyes?
Well, I will say I got to tell you two things. I
Okay.
love the fact that you send the video kind of every week to me to kind of like as an update
Oh,
video.
the weekly update videos on how the
Yeah,
marketing is performing and everything.
yeah, I love that. And then honestly, I like talking to Wellington, the transfer, the ISA.
Gotcha.
He's such a great guy.
Yeah, fair enough. And I'm happy that you've had the experience you've had with him. And that's the other thing that's a little bit different about us that a lot of other people don't know is they assume that if you do have an ISA and it's part of the service that you provide, most companies, so I guess it's logical thinking, and the thinking is warranted when it comes to the real estate agents, thinking that when people provide an ISA, that it's basically going to be a call center where there's going to be 4 or 5 different people in there calling your leads at any given time, if they're not outsourcing that work to another call center. And often people don't realize that that's not really the way we work. We assign you that one dedicated person, right? Like Wellington in your instance. So you guys get to know each other really well. And we can have more conversations like this, right? That where everybody had successful results. Not only that, but they're really on a personal level getting to know the person who's doing the nurturing, the calling, the texting for them, because it's more like you have that personal in-house assistant almost. So it means a lot to hear that from you. And I'm of course going to share this information with him. I know you, of course, you guys talk on a regular basis, but I'm going to, of course, pass this along to him because I want to make sure that we always keep team morale high, and he would love to hear that from you as well, because he's told me the same thing about you. So I can tell you it is a two-way street there. So I appreciate your input on that, Rick. Now, last thing that I want to ask you here, I guess, before we hop off the call, again, something I would ask to somebody else. What would you say to somebody who maybe has been burnt before in the past by whether it's one of the services that you use, or maybe any service at all, and they're considering ours, or maybe it's somebody that was spending, $10,000+ a month on like Zillow, like you guys were as well. And it's maybe considering partnering with somebody else, or maybe replacing Zillow with somebody else. When it comes to one of those individuals, what would you recommend to them?
Yeah, I would definitely give your business a try. I mean, you guys have done everything that you said you were going to do from the very beginning, and you have delivered on that. And yeah, no, it's been a great experience.
I'm so happy to hear that. Like I said, Rick, I'm passing that information along to the team, and I'm super excited for you. And I'm also excited for what the future entails. I know we talked about possibly using Wellington and some other means to make the most of that 12,000. I think it's 12,000 database, right? 12,000 people.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to the potential opportunity of squeezing as much out of the sponge there with you guys as well. But I appreciate your time here to sit down to kind of share your experience and your results with everybody. And it goes a long way in helping other people in their real estate journey in other cities and areas as well. Thank you so much, Rick. If you're currently experiencing the challenges or concerns that this agent used to go through prior to partnering with us, and you want to achieve the same results that they talked about in this video, then feel free to click the link in the description below to find out a little more about our company and to potentially book a call to see if we would be a good fit for one another.